Death Battle. Death Battle. They recently had a video with Yuji versus Denji. It was pretty good. Pretty good. But I just saw a YouTuber trying to debunk it. And not debunking it with like, oh, this character has feelings. But you know, something like trying to debunk some of the logic used in, you know, the death battle. And then criticizing the death battle itself. But I didn't agree with them on some things. So I'm, as a Chainsaw Man fan, I'm gonna tell them not to sink. I'm Mr.Feedlestick, your woke liberal feminist. Now let's get into it. The YouTuber that made this video is That's Weird, Bro. You know, he's a fairly popular YouTuber by the looks of it. And debunking Death Battle Yuji vs Denji. So you know,
inaccurate and also not even needed. I know this isn't the type of content that I've been debunking on this channel, but the new Denji versus Yuji death battle has particularly angered me, as it's the first death battle in a long time that is so out of character that I have to give the original Goku versus Superman credit for having better writing.
Okay, so why does that matter? They aren't fanfic writers, they're power scalers, right? And yeah, you know, that was pretty bad writing, but you know, that was, I mean, just look at the animation. That was 2013. But like, they're not here to make a story. Right? They're not here to like, oh, then Sasuke and Naruto held hands, and then Naruto said, Sasuke, and then they kissed. No, they aren't doing that shit. They're trying to see who can beat each other in a match. All right. Right? They just make it good enough so that it's not like this.
Thing from the end of both series that they end up coming up with are kind of shaky regardless. Especially for Chainsaw Man, where any feats that happen after chapter 219 of Chainsaw Man cannot be scaled, as that is after Denji has eaten the devil, which represents death.
Okay. Now, see, I get his logic here. But you have to understand that it erases the concept of death and the effects of death. Now, death is just the loss of consciousness in both our reality and the Chainsaw Man universe. So in order to die, you have to lose consciousness forever. That does not mean, oh yeah, you're invulnerable to all damage, so you can still be ripped apart and tear to shreds and still be alive. That's why, you know, Denji is cut in half. Like you just lose. That's how death works. Death is not the ability to take damage. It's what happens after all consciousness is lost permanently. Like, that's what death is, and that's what, like, yeah, you can still scale the durability because death doesn't affect durability. Unless, of course, we're counting consciousness not being lost as durability. So, yeah, I mean, we see people, you know, having things done to them that would kill them. You know, they're just fine because, you know, you can't lose consciousness anymore. You know, that's what death is. I mean, I get the logic here. You know, it seems logical at first, but it's not. Pretty sure there's some comments too about that.
Making death literally impossible in the Chainsaw Man universe. Meaning that none of Denji's durability, survivability, or regeneration feats from the final battle are properly scalable without just dropping Yuji into the Chainsaw Man story like a fan.
Yeah, I know that also wouldn't affect regeneration because, well, like, they retain all their normal stats. Just that, you know, you're not gonna be losing your consciousness after you're 22 a billion pieces.
Infection. And given that the concept of death has been retconned out of existence, you can't really say that would be a fair fight, because how are we supposed to know who's stronger when death doesn't exist? And that's also not to mention that both combatant speed feats are basically just made up by screw attack here.
Okay, so they definitely do have some pretty weird speed scaling, but one thing that's undeniable that what Denji had was near light speed. I don't know, light speed, because, like, it's from the fucking moon. You know how far away the moon is? Being able to travel that fast in just a few seconds, that's above Mach speed. Like, speed of sound. So, yeah, that's... I mean, yeah, it might not be the exact, travel distance. But I think I'm gonna power scale that myself in a few minutes. Maybe after this.
I would understand if they had to make some concessions or just go off of some minor assumptions when it came to the speed of these characters based off of inference or based off of the narrative, but they just straight up make up the timing for both of the characters' speed feats. They use these weird calculations related to reaction speed to trigger a black flash on the scale of Yuji, rather than attempting to quantify the combat speed of any character that he's relative to or below. And they also attempt to downscale the entire Jujutsu Kaisen universe using a quote from the Dabura versus Maharaga fight from Mojilo. However,
so they have said, I'm pretty sure, with all the Jujutsu Kaisen I know, they've said that, the speed of light is not possible for JJK characters. But now, you see, that doesn't really, I can't agree with him on this, because, often manga writers and animators make characters do feats that go against their own established logic. There's definitely times where characters do something that is definitely FDL plus. So, I can agree with him on here, because I'm pretty sure they do. I'm not the biggest JJK fan, but this is some pretty logical thinking right here. Because, you can't always trust a quote. There's a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball that, implies that some characters are just, seemingly omnipotent with their skill of destruction. I'm pretty sure there was, a quote in Dragon Ball where some characters said that they could blow up the universe. Or, destroy it. Or, I don't know. I'm not a Dragon Ball fan. Alright, now let's actually power scale that moon feat, with the American flag spear thing that Hero can't quite control. Alright, so the Apollo 11 mission does successful moon landing. The rocket for that moved at a speed of 25,000 miles per hour, alright? And the moon is 234,900 miles away from Earth. I hope I got that number right. Right? And it took them only 3 days to get to the moon, and then 3 days back. 3 days, going at 25,000 miles per hour. And I'm pretty sure it didn't take 3 days for that spear to land on Earth in the manga. So, that spear was most likely either moving at Mach 35,000, depending if it took minutes, or near the speed of light, if it came in a few seconds. So, that puts Denji way above any speed that you can calculate for Yuji. So, we don't know the time frame, but just by knowing how long it took us humans to get to the moon, you're gonna get an insane number either way. Unless of course it's revealed that, it took days for it to come. Definitely wouldn't be. And, he also brought up that Euro can't quite control the spear, but that doesn't matter because it still came to Earth in what was likely a few minutes or seconds. So, just because you can't control who you wanted to hit exactly doesn't mean that it's not as fast. Come on, what kind of logic is that? Just because I can't control who my boomerang hits when I throw it doesn't mean that it's not fast. Like, come on. Come on, man. Come on, man. What kind of logic is that? And then, now since I've established that, death being removed does not mean that durability is automatically invincible. When Denji got hit with a sword from Euro that was made of Oregon compressed sword, that's at least a country level feat using a state, a U.S. state, a big one too. It's Oregon. Oregon's quite big. Imagine if that was Texas. Now, being hit by an entire U.S. state, even if all the mass of Oregon wasn't fully compressed into it, like how some nuclear bombs were star reactions, you're still being hit with millions of tons. All right, that's much greater than a mountain level feat, and much greater than any durability that Yuji has. So, yeah, that's not. Yuji can't. I mean, yeah, he does have Shrine, alright, but that's only gonna do so much for so long. And then the soul splitting. Now, luckily, Denji is connected to Vegeta, even when they're separated. So, it's not a one-hit KO, alright? It's not like, oh yeah, punches you, then boom, you're dead. No, that spirit axe is not treated as a one-way ticket to victory in JJK. So, yeah, it's effective, but, only for so long. So, but it's it's not, yeah, he's gonna use it. But, like I said, it's only useful for so long. I'm repeating myself now. And then regeneration. Yuji has regeneration, but, JJK regeneration is far weaker than what's in Chainsaw Man. Because, there's weak points, alright? Like the stomach and head. So, if any of those spots are hit, you can't regenerate, which is, exactly what Denji does as Denji Man. So, regeneration was just not an option. At least not for too long. And then he brings a point about how Superman can one-punch Omni-Man and just, just insta-kill him. And yeah. But, a lot of series have characters who could just speed blitz a certain character, but they never do because, there's no plot then. I mean, I may have misheard what he said exactly, and I probably am. Because I was busy doing my moon scaling and all this other scaling. But, like I said, there's no plot. I mean, Itachi could have very easily speed blitzed the entire Uchiha clan, but no, he took a sweet time with Obito. Remember, Obito was also there, killing them. And Minato, he could also speed blitz so many people. He never quite. Yeah, he does sometimes, but he doesn't, because they need plot. All right, they need plot. Denji could have instantly killed Yuji, depending on which form he was in, just by speed blitzing him. The weak spots, but he doesn't, because you want to know why? Plot. Superman doesn't just go around one-shotting everyone. I don't know why. Because they need that plot. All right, they need that plot. All right, if Superman just goes in every fight using a punch at full strength, then there's nothing. They have to limit him by having him use some strategy. That's why. That's just how it is, And then he goes on to talk about the stats and I don't know what he expects. It's a death battle. The person with the higher stats are gonna win, which is, Denji. I mean, he survived the U.S. state. He outspeeded a light speed spear or super hypersonic spear. He has God's regeneration. Yeah, of course, the person with the higher stats are gonna win. Like it's like a 42 pack of a nitrogen bomb versus a crying baby, a coughing baby. Nitrogen bomb's gonna win. It just outranks it and everything. What's your logic? Like, yeah, it's not even like that. There was like a one stat variable that made this guy win. No. Denji was just far better than you. I'm trying to talk about this with the least bias imaginable, but the scaling is just right there. I mean, has Yuji ever been? Has Yuji ever had a U.S. state thrown at him? No, he hasn't. He hasn't. I mean, yeah, he's blowing up some cities, but come on. It's a U.S. state. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to cover from his video, because, I think those are, like, the biggest points to, try and debunk from his. And I think what he says in the rest of the video is pretty good. It's not a bad video, alright? Because like I said, those were just some things that I just didn't seem right to me in the video. I also don't want to get a copyright strike from this guy. So I want to show as minimal footage from his channel as possible before I get taken. Please don't, sir. Please don't. I'll subscribe to you if you don't do that. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Yeah. I'm Mr.Feedlestick, your woke liberal feminist, and I'm out.